Have you heard about the recent catastrophe at the Baltimore Key Bridge? A colossal container ship, stretching nearly 1,000 feet, collided with the Francis Scott Key Bridge in Baltimore, leading to a disastrous collapse. In the wake of this calamity, 6 construction workers are presumed dead, their lives claimed by an event that has left the nation in shock. This was no ordinary vessel. The Singapore-flagged ship, known as Dali, has had its fair share of unfortunate incidents in the past. Rewind to 2016 and you'll find the same ship involved in a collision at a European port in Antwerp, Belgium. Now, fast forward to the present day, and it's clear that history has repeated itself in the most tragic way possible. The Dali, chartered by the global shipping giant Maersk, lost propulsion before striking a support pillar of the Baltimore Key Bridge. The impact was so severe that it caused an entire span of the bridge to collapse into the Patapsco River. The incident was declared a mass casualty event, a grim reminder of the potential dangers lurking in our waters. But this catastrophe is more than just a tragic incident. It's a wake-up call. It's a stark reminder of the ever-increasing size of cargo ships and the challenges they pose to our infrastructure. It's a warning sign, raising serious questions about the structural integrity of our bridges and the measures in place to protect them. The unfortunate event at the Baltimore Key Bridge has sparked a debate among experts. Some suggest using tugs or imposing speed limits on vessels. Others propose relocating the bridge or replacing it with a tunnel to mitigate collision risks. But the tragedy stands as a stark reminder that engineering structures can never be entirely risk-free. Decisions must balance safety measures with practicality. This tragic event has raised serious concerns about the bridge's structural integrity and the increasing size of cargo ships. As we delve deeper into the aftermath of this catastrophe, we begin to understand the true magnitude of its impact on the lives of those affected and the wider community. The bridge collapse sent shockwaves through the city and beyond, leading to a state of emergency. The impact was immediate and widespread, affecting not just the physical landscape, but also the economic and social fabric of the region. The disruption to the Port of Baltimore was a major concern, as it is a critical node in the global supply chain. Major businesses, including Amazon, Home Depot, FedEx, BMW, and Volkswagen, found their operations severely affected. These companies, with distribution centers located nearby, faced an immediate increase in journey times, disruption of deliveries, and the need for extensive traffic rerouting. The collapse of a bridge is not just a physical barrier. It can also create a ripple effect that disrupts the smooth flow of commerce and life. The state of emergency was declared by Maryland Governor Wes Moore, underscoring the gravity of the situation. This designation mobilizes resources and enables rapid response to the crisis. However, it also signals the scale of the challenge ahead, as the city grapples with the immediate and long-term consequences of the disaster. Alternative routes were quickly advised, and companies started implementing contingency plans to mitigate the impact. But these are temporary measures, and the question of a more permanent solution looms large. What was once a taken-for-granted part of the city's infrastructure has suddenly become a gaping hole, a reminder of our vulnerability in the face of unexpected disasters. The aftermath of the collapse has left the city in a state of disruption and uncertainty, with significant repercussions on transportation, trade, and business operations. The immediate effects are stark, but the longer-term implications are still unfolding. As the city begins to pick up the pieces, the question on everyone's mind is, what comes next? In the face of tragedy, the city has rallied together to begin recovery efforts. As we delve into the details, it's clear that these operations are far from ordinary. The recovery teams, consisting of brave divers and emergency responders, are facing dangerous and challenging conditions. The magnitude of the bridge collapse has resulted in a complex underwater terrain, with debris and possible pollutants posing a significant threat. Among the heroes of this recovery mission are 3 officers who have been celebrated for their courage and quick response. Their valiant efforts serve as a beacon of hope amid the devastation, reminding us of the strength and resilience inherent in the human spirit. The recovery process is painstaking and emotionally taxing. As of now, 2 bodies have been recovered from the wreckage. However, the search continues for the 4 individuals who remain missing. Each day brings a mix of hope and dread as the city waits for news about their fellow citizens. Parallel to the search and rescue operations, the Unified Command is diligently monitoring the area for pollution and debris. the collapse of such a massive structure into the Patapsco River raises concerns about potential environmental impacts. The monitoring efforts aim to mitigate any adverse effects and ensure the safety of the surrounding ecosystem. The recovery efforts extend beyond the immediate tragedy. Maryland has requested $60 million in emergency relief funds from the federal government for immediate response efforts. This financial aid will be instrumental in supporting the city's recovery and rebuilding efforts. Despite the hazardous conditions and heartache, the city continues its recovery efforts, demonstrating resilience and unity in the face of adversity. The path to recovery may be long and arduous, but the spirit of Baltimore remains unbroken. As the city continues to recover, there are still many questions left unanswered. The Baltimore Bridge collapse has left a mark not just on the city's skyline, but also on the hearts of its residents and the operations of its businesses. The immediate effects of the disaster are being felt particularly at the Port of Baltimore, with major businesses like Amazon, Home Depot, FedEx, BMW, and Volkswagen, all having distribution centers nearby, now grappling with the impact of the collapse. The wreckage of the bridge has disrupted deliveries, elongated journey times, and triggered traffic rerouting, affecting local and potentially regional operations. As the city navigates this new reality, alternative routes are being advised, and companies are implementing contingency plans to mitigate the impact. The ripple effects of this disaster are expected to be felt for weeks to come, altering the rhythm of the city and the region. In the midst of the recovery efforts, the state of Maryland has requested $60 million in emergency relief funds from the federal government. These funds are intended to aid immediate response efforts, providing resources for the daunting task of rebuilding. This request underscores the magnitude of the disaster and the scale of the recovery efforts needed. Meanwhile, the Unified Command continues to monitor the situation closely, keeping a vigilant eye out for pollution and debris as a result of the collapse. This is a critical part of the recovery process, ensuring that the environmental impact of the disaster is kept to a minimum. In the wake of this catastrophe, the city has shown remarkable resilience. The focus remains on recovery and rebuilding, with the understanding that the road to normalcy will be a long one. While the city continues to grapple with the aftermath of the catastrophe, the focus remains on recovery and rebuilding. The Baltimore Key Bridge collapse is a tragedy that has left deep scars in the city's heart. A cargo ship, the Dali, collided with the bridge, causing its collapse and the presumed deaths of 6 construction workers. The accident not only took lives but also raised serious questions about the safety of our infrastructure. In the aftermath of the incident, the city was declared in a state of emergency. The collapse disrupted the flow of business and trade, affecting local and potentially regional operations. Companies like Amazon, Home Depot, FedEx, BMW, and Volkswagen, with distribution centers nearby, were left scrambling to implement contingency plans to mitigate the impact. As we moved into the recovery phase, divers faced hazardous conditions in their efforts to recover the bodies of the construction workers. 2 bodies were found while 4 remain missing. The Unified Command monitored for pollution and debris as the city grappled with the scale of the disaster. Now, discussions have emerged about the safety measures that could be implemented to prevent such disasters in the future. Ideas range from protective structures, speed limits on vessels, to relocating the bridge or replacing it with a tunnel. However, the increasing size of cargo ships and the practicality of these measures are under debate. But in the midst of this tragedy, there is a glimmer of hope. President Joe Biden announced that the federal government will cover the reconstruction costs of the bridge. While this does not bring back the lives lost, it is a step towards healing and rebuilding. As the city of Baltimore looks towards recovery and rebuilding, we are reminded of the importance of infrastructure safety and the resilience of the human spirit in the face of adversity.